Emily.
Hi,
And
Emily.
today I'm going to be talking about patience through suffering. I'm going to start with a story from the Bible about a girl who bled for 12 years. And she suffered through these long 12 years. And one day she heard that Jesus was walking in the crowd. So she decided to go, and she crawled on the floor just to touch the tip of his clothes. And as she touched it, Jesus turned to her, and he told her that she would be healed because she had faith, and that she went to him, and she didn't doubt for a second that he could heal her. So that's something we don't really see a lot. When we go through suffering, our first instinct is not to go to God. It's to go to distractions and things that we think could fix it, but overall, he's the only person that can actually fix our hurt. So I'm going to be talking about a first verse, which is 1 Peter 5:10, and it says, "And the God of all grace, who called you to his eternal glory in Christ, after you have suffered a little while, he himself will restore you, make you strong, firm, and steadfast." So in the verse, I really want to emphasize how he talks about we only suffer for a little while. No pain is too much for God. He puts things in our lives that he knows we can handle. And when I go through tough times, I know that I tend to think that God wants me to go through pain. He put things in my life, it's his will, but it's not that he wants to see us hurt, it's that he wants us to be able to overcome it, and he wants to work in us during these times. So at the end of the verse, God makes a promise to us. He says that he will restore us and make us strong again. And I know that when we go through tough times, we tend to think that we're going to be hurt forever and we're never going to be back to how we were before. It's always going to affect us. And instead of affecting us in a bad way, God could affect us in a better way. We don't have to always feel that hurt or lose that part of us. We could overcome it, be stronger, and move past it. So, one point that's really important is that suffering can't be avoided. We always see situations in our life where we see a potential possibility for hurt. We try to avoid it. We try to leave that situation, leave that relationship, that friendship. But there's always going to be suffering in your life. You're always going to go through something. So instead of trying to avoid it and go to worldly problems, go to God and have patience through it because he's going to help you. He's going to hold your hand and push you through it because he knows what he's doing in your life. So the second Bible verse I want to talk about is John 16:33, and it says, "I have told you these things so that in me you may have peace. In this world you have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world." So statistically speaking, the average person only lives up to 78. In 2020, that was the last time. But we all know people who have lived longer and who have lived a shorter life. But the main part of that is that the world's temporary. We're not going to be on this world forever. We're always having eternity after. So if we just have patience through these 80-something years, God will he'll take our pain and our suffering and he'll make it better. He has a reason for it. There's always a better outcome to it. And we may not see it in a moment. I know personally when I suffer, I don't understand why he does these things, but there's always a better outcome, So all of this pain has so in the verse, he says that he is overcome the world. He's in control. He knows what he's doing. God doesn't just put things in our lives for us to feel the pain and there's no reason to it. He does things because there's a better outcome and there's a better reason to it. He cares about us. He doesn't want to see us hurt or in pain. He wants to see us, happier, overcoming and getting stronger past these moments. So about losing a friendship or breaking up with someone, I'm pretty sure we've all lost someone in our lives. And when we lose someone, it may seem like there's no real reason to it. With a friendship, toxic people, we've all had someone toxic in our lives. But if that person left our life, it's for a reason. God's taking these people out so that we can get new friends who, respect us and don't put us down instead of, putting us up and supporting us. And it may seem really hard with relationships. Most of us have probably lost a relationship or anything like that. When those things happen, there's a lesson to it. We learn something about our next relationship, or there's always a better thing coming in our lives, and it's hard to see it, and I know it is, but it's really important that we just focus our eyes God is still working in us. And personally, like, I can't really talk about a loss of like a family member or something. I mean, I've lost someone in my life who was really important to me, but I still don't understand the reason for it. And I'm going to be completely honest, it still hurts to think about the people that we've lost, but it's important to know that the only way for us to feel better is to lean towards God. Worldly things are not going to make us feel better. Worldly things are just going to distract us for the pain that's the little betterness that we're going to feel is just going to be temporary. If we lean towards God, He's going to give us the strength to move past it. And the last verse I want to talk about is Revelations 21:4, and it says, "He will wipe away every tear. There will be no more death, or mourning, or crying, or pain, for the old order of things is past." So, one really important point that I want to make is that suffering is not forever. There's always an end to it. It may not seem like it. I know when we go through tough times, we see that there's no end to the tunnel. We always see that we're just going to always be hurt by this, but there's always going to be an end with God, and God is the end. Other distractions are not going to be the end. We're not going to be able to avoid the suffering in our lives. We're going to have to, feel God, and we're going to have to let Him in to work in us. And we can't fight this battle alone. We always go through things, and all of us have gone through things, but it's really important that we lean towards Him, and having the patience, it's going to be hard and it's going to be a struggle, but it's really important because with God, He'll help us through these times. And I want you to think about a spider in your room. Let's say you see a spider in the corner of your room, and obviously the first instinct is to get out unless you kill it. That's not me, but first thing I do is I get out of my room and I go ask someone to kill it. I go ask someone to, kill the spider and get it out. But let's say I just leave the spider, it's not going to evaporate. It's not going to just leave my room randomly. We have to go back in there, and we have to fight our battles, and we have to think about the spider as you're suffering. You can't avoid it. You can't run away from it. You just have to go back in there and ask God for help, because He's the only one that's going to be able to take that suffering, and He's the only one that's going to be able to fix us. So don't run away from it. Go and fight it, and go and lean on God for it. And so in the verse, it says that He will wipe away every tear. Not Netflix, not parties, not social media. That's not going to be a good fix. Those distractions are a temporary fixer to the problems that we have in our lives. And the pain isn't going to go away until we do something about it. So we really have to focus on God and have patience. And I'm really stressing that the patience is not going to be something easy that you can just have in your life. I'm not a very patient person, honestly, but with God, it's really important to just focus your eyes on Him and know that He's trying to work in your life. And it's hard, it really is, to understand that. And especially during suffering, we don't want to understand it. We get mad with God, we get frustrated that He's putting these things in our lives, but there's a reason for it. And the last point I want to make is that God knows every path that you're taking. So if you take His path, He'll give you His promise. And that's all. So thank you so much. Do I have time for Q&A?
Yeah.